You're 60 years old, you've worked 40 years of your life building up retirement funds to live a healthy and secure life. And the number one fear you've probably got at this stage is running out of money. Thankfully, for most of you, this won't happen. But in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 things that can typically happen to people who do run out of money in retirement and how you can avoid them. So how do I know? Well, we've worked with over 10,000 people to help them plan secure and happy retirements. And as the saying goes, it's much cheaper and easier to learn from others' mistakes than make them on your own. These insights can save you a world of pain later. So point number 1 is all around lifestyle creep. The first thing that makes people broke is upgrading their lifestyle every time they have an increase in their income and their take-home pay. In February of 2025, HSBC ran a survey asking people earning around £100,000 a year what they believed was needed to be considered wealthy. And the answer is going to shock you. The average was £213,000 a year. So let's think about that for a moment. People who are already in the top income bracket believe they still needed more than double their salary to actually feel wealthy. And this is where lifestyle creep destroys retirement plans. There's a really famous example of this, but it's in reverse, and it's with a man, or it's about a man called Ronald Reed. He worked most of his life as a janitor and petrol station attendant. I'm not sure if you've heard this story. He never earned big money, but he lived modestly, invested consistently, and avoided all the temptations with lifestyle inflation. When he passed away, he had millions of dollars in his retirement accounts and in his net worth. I'm not saying you should leave everything behind, but Ronald's lesson is really clear. Live within your means and invest wisely and consistently. If your spending rises every time your income does, no retirement pot is ever going to feel big enough. Controlling lifestyle creep is not about depriving yourself of the things you want. It's about making sure that you save. If your salary goes up, your savings rate should not go down. So if you're saving 20% of your income, that percentage should stay roughly the same when your salary increases. So if you get a 10% pay rise, you don't spend it all. And keep saving at least 20% of your new income and only enjoy what's left. This allows you to enjoy the increase in income, but also maintain the same level of saving in percentage terms as that you had before. Okay, so now we understand how lifestyle creep can deplete your retirement pot. Next, we'll look at the hidden tax that affects all of us. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more retirement content. Anything you want us to cover or things that are concerning you, just list them below in the comments and we'll do our best to do some videos to cover them. Point number 2 is all around inflation. Inflation is one of the biggest reasons people run out of money in retirement. And it is also one of the easiest to underestimate. So let's see how this works. 20 years ago in the UK, a Big Mac cost £1.90. And today, the same Big Mac, probably a bit smaller, costs closer to £5. The buying power of your money becomes less as the cost of everything rises. So you aren't getting a better product. In the case of the Big Mac, it might be smaller. It just costs more. Now apply that to your retirement. If your lifestyle costs 40 grand a year today, inflation does not stop when you retire. In 10 to 15 years, that same lifestyle could cost a lot more without you doing anything differently. This is where people get caught out, as they only plan for today's costs and not for costs in the future. Many retirees look at their bank balance and think, I have enough. But what they forget is that the cost of living does not stay still. It doesn't remain consistent. Food, energy, healthcare, travel, insurance, everything increases over time. 10 years into retirement, the same costs can significantly increase more than when you started. Right now, inflation in the UK is around 3.6%. That means that every year, things are getting 3.6% more expensive. So if your money is sitting in a bank account earning 1%, you're losing purchasing power every year. Even though the number in your account looks the same, what that money can buy clearly isn't. So to stay ahead of inflation, your money needs to be in places that have the potential to grow faster than the rising rates. For example, government bonds, index funds, or carefully selected income-producing assets like property. If you would like us to make another video breaking down different places where your money can sit ahead of inflation, let us know in the comments and we'll be sure to make one. Okay, now we know how inflation is the silent retirement killer. Next, we'll look at how not having a plan can also destroy your retirement dreams. So point number 3 is all around people having no plan. Another one of the biggest reasons people run out of money in retirement is because they don't know how much is enough. It's a really difficult number to quantify. Most people retire with savings, pension investments, but they do not know what those numbers actually mean for their life and their lifestyle. So they have a guess, finger in the air. One year they spend freely because they feel confident. The next year they cut back because they feel anxious. Their spending changes based on emotion and not on the plan that they've created. And that uncertainty slowly drains their retirement and their happiness. Retirement with no plan is like getting into a car with a full tank, but no map and no idea how long the journey is. At the start, you're going to feel completely fine. The tank is full. Everything looks good. Driving along really nicely. But because you do not know how far you need to go, you do not know how fast you can drive. You might take some wrong turns. You're going to waste some fuel along the way. And eventually, you start worrying about whether you're going to run out before the journey ends. We're getting closer to that empty balance. A retirement plan answers one simple question. How much can I safely spend every year without running out of money? So if you want help with figuring out how much is enough, click on this video. When you know that number, everything changes. You start to feel a lot lighter, start to feel a lot happier, and your decisions are based on logic and not on emotion. That difference alone can add years to the life of your retirement money and probably years to your own life through lack of stress. So now we know why it's so important to have a plan for your retirement spending. Next, we'll look at another destroyer of your retirement pot. So point number 4 is bad debt. Not that there is probably such thing as good debt, or there might be, but it's all around bad debt. Most of us will carry some form of debt at different points in our lives. A mortgage, credit card, a personal loan. Debt itself is not the problem. The problem is the type of debt and the cost of it. So if we take a credit card as the example, this becomes very simple and very easy to see. So let's say your credit card interest rate is 19% per annum. I mean, that's insane. 19% is a very high number, but that's typical for credit cards. That means every year the credit card company is charging you 19% on the money you still owe. Now, let's say your investments are earning around 6% a year. Here's what's really happening. For every £1 you leave on the credit card is costing you 19%, so 19 pence. For every pound you put into your investments, you're earning 6%, so 6 pence. You are losing 13p a year on every single pound as the difference. So in that situation, putting extra money into investments does not make any sense at all. You're effectively borrowing at 19% to invest at 6%. With high interest debt, like credit cards or personal loans, the damage really racks up really quickly. I've used 19% as an example, but these interest rates can be as high as 20, 25%, sometimes even higher. So left unchecked, this debt really destroys your retirement pots. So next, we're going to have a look at where you could be leaving money on the table. So point number 5 is not maximising what's available to you. One of the most overlooked reasons people run out of money in retirement is they did not use the tools that were already available to them. So most people have access to ISAs, retirement accounts, and other tax-efficient accounts, but they never fully use them. Years down the line, they look back and realise they paid way more tax than they ever needed to. Governments create these tax-free and tax-efficient allowances to incentivise people to save over the longer term and invest. In the UK, these typically look like ISAs and pensions. In the US, similar incentives, things like 401ks and HSAs. When these allowances are not used properly, the cost is not obvious immediately because it's going to show up later when you actually need the money in retirement. and it will come through higher tax bills and you actually receiving lower amounts in your pocket. Maximising what is available to you is not about being sneaky. It's about keeping more of your own money. And over a 20 or 30 year retirement period, that difference can be massive. So now we know how important it is to use the options that the government gives you. Next, we'll look at how your family can ruin your retirement pot. So point number 6, helping family without boundaries. This might seem crazy, but one of the hardest conversations I have with clients is around helping adult children or family members financially. Maybe it's a house deposit or a business loan, temporary cash shortfall. It can come in a variety of different things. But of course, everyone wants to use their money to help their children. But at what point does that generosity begin to put your own future at risk? One of my clients' children needed some extra money to buy a house. They really didn't need the house either. It was the child's dream house. Well, she wasn't so much of a child. She's an adult, obviously, now. But the daughter was begging mum and dad for the extra money and to help her and her partner with the monthly mortgage payments. And to her partner got a raise that he was expecting at the end of the year. Without informing us, my client ended up taking over £200,000 from their pension for the purchase of the house. Lo and behold, the salary raise never came, and their daughter actually lost their job for a period, so they were in an even worse situation than they initially planned. Now my clients are dangerously close to running out of money, and their daughter lives in guilt that her parents' retirement pot took a massive turn for the worst because she wanted her dream house. Your retirement fund is not an emergency fund for everyone else. Once you stop earning, you cannot rebuild lost capital. Helping family must be done with clear limits and structure, or it becomes one of the fastest ways people run out of money later in life. The lesson: it is super important to have clear boundaries with your money. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, is this: running out of money in retirement is rarely caused by one big mistake. It's usually caused by small decisions repeated over time without you having a clear plan. The good news is that every single one of these risks can be managed. So if you want help understanding where you stand, how much is enough, and how to avoid these mistakes, make sure you watch the next video. And if you found this video useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which of these 6 worries concerns you the most. Thanks very much for watching.